Okay, let's go over the homework solutions from the work that you had on Thursday. As I mentioned on Google Classroom, I'd initially given you question 4, but that involves something with functions that we haven't learned yet, so it wouldn't really be possible for you to attempt it at this point. So we'll start with question 5. And question 5 has 3 parts, and we're asked to find the value or values of k for which the following equations have equal roots. So the first one, x squared minus 10x plus k equal to 0. We're going to note that if it has equal roots, then the discriminant b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0. And a, b, and c are the same way as when we fill into the minus b formula. So that means that 10 squared minus 4 by 1 by k must be equal to 0. So 100 is equal to 4k, and divide across by 4, 25 is equal to k. So the other way that we usually write it, k is equal to 25. So hopefully that first part was something that everybody was able to do. The second part, 4x squared plus kx plus 9 equal to 0. And in this case, it's the b value that's going to be k. So again, we're filling into the discriminant. B squared minus 4ac is equal to 0 if this has equal roots. And that means that k squared minus 4 by 9 is equal to 0. So k squared minus, I need to calculate this, 4 by 9, 4 by 9 gives me 144. And we can do this 2 ways. We can bring the 144 over to the other side. K squared is equal to 144. Then square root both sides, but remember that when you introduce a square root yourself, you must put a plus or minus in front of it. So k is equal to plus or minus 12. K could be 12, or k could be minus 12. The other way we could have done the same question would have been to factorize. So k squared minus 144 is the difference of 2 squares. So we've got k plus 12, k minus 12, and that gives us our 2 answers as well. K is equal to minus 12, or k is equal to plus 12. Whichever method you prefer is fine. I just wanted to show both of them to you there because this is nice and quick, so long as you remember to put in your plus and minus. Now, part 3. We're asked to find the values of k if x squared minus x by 2k plus 2 plus 5k plus 1 equal to 0 has equal roots. Again, we're using our discriminant, b squared minus 4ac equal to 0. But my a, b, and c, a little bit less accessible than previous questions. Everything that multiplies the x here is the b, including the sign, is the b part. So a is 1, b is minus 2k plus 2, and c is everything that doesn't have an x term. C is the constant, so c is 5k plus 1. And when I fill into my discriminant formula there, I have that b squared minus 2k plus 2 all squared minus 4ac is equal to 0. If you forgot the minus, you'll find that you actually got the same answer, and you won't get penalised any marks for that. If you were filling into the full minus b formula, though, it would change your answer. The minus here, when I square a negative number, I get the same answer as if I'd squared a positive number. So when I square this, the minus gets squared as well, and this is the same as just 2k plus 2 all squared. So this is 2k plus 2 all squared minus 4 by 5k plus 1 equals 0. You don't have to write down that step, you can just go ahead and do it. Square the first, 4k squared. Square the last, 4. Double the product, 4k and then double it, 8k. Minus 4 by 5 is minus 20k. Minus 4 by 1 is minus 4. Then tidy this up. 8 take 20 is minus 12. And 4 take 4 is 0. So those guys cancelled. And I can divide across by 4, so I will. But if you didn't spot that, you end up with the same answer. K squared minus 3k is equal to 0. Now, how do I solve this? Well, it is a quadratic, and I can use the minus b formula, but you're really making work for yourself if you do that, with c equal to 0, or I can take out a common factor. K by k minus 3 is equal to 0, so k is either equal to 0 or k is equal to 3. And both of those answers will give me a quadratic with equal roots if they're filled in here. So for example, x squared minus 2x plus 1, if I filled in k equal to 0. Okay, let's move on to question 6. So question 6 asked us to find the values of k if the equation k squared x squared plus 2 bracket k plus 1x plus 4 equal to 0 has equal roots. Similar to what we've already done, just maybe a little bit confusing in terms of identifying your a, b, and c. Everything that multiplies the x is your b, everything that multiplies the x squared is your a, and the constant is c. So a is k squared, b is 2 bracket k plus 1, the whole thing, and c is 4. So I'm filling into my discriminant, b squared minus 4ac equal to 0, because they told us we had equal roots. So for b squared, I have 2 bracket k plus 1 all squared minus 4 by a by c, and that's going to be equal to 0. Remember, when you square something like this, with 2 terms inside the bracket, the power applies to both of them. So if I have ab all to the power of 2, that is a squared and b squared. This power applies to both terms. Likewise here, this squared applies to both of these terms here. We found that before when we were doing the sum and difference of 2 cubes, factorizing those types of questions. So this will be 2 squared, which is 4, k squared plus 2k plus 1, which is that guy squared out. How do I know that? Pascal's triangle. It's only the second row, so it's easy to remember. Or square the first, double the product, square the last. Minus 4 by 4 is minus 16, k squared equal to 0. Multiply these brackets out, 4k squared plus 8k plus 4 minus 16k squared equal to 0. And then tidy it up, minus 12k squared plus 8k plus 4 equal to 0. And I'm going to divide across by a minus 4 to change the signs and simplify this, giving me 3k squared plus 2, be careful of my signs, changing the signs as well as I go across, minus 2k minus 1 equal to 0. And I can either find my guide number, which is minus 3, and so write this as minus 3k plus 1k, or I could use the minus b formula as well if I find it too difficult to find my factors. So I have 3k by k minus 1 plus 1 by k minus 1, and that gives me that my factors are 3k plus 1 by k minus 1 equal to 0. If you wrote the brackets the other order, that's fine, it's still correct. So k is either equal to minus a third or k is equal to 1. Now I know I'm skipping steps here, so if you're not sure where these answers came from, go and do it the long way yourselves and get familiar with it. At higher level, speed is important as well. It's not everything, and we're only in 4th year, but it is important to learn when you can skip steps and to do that safely if you can. Okay, so that was question 6. Let me know if there's any part of that that you don't understand. Then I also asked you to do question 10. So question 10 asks us to find the value of k for which k minus 2 times x squared plus x by 2k plus 1 plus k is equal to 0. Now I'm hoping that it's starting to get easier to identify your A, B, and C. A is everything that's multiplied by x squared, k minus 2. B is everything that's multiplied by x, including the sign. And C is anything that is not multiplied by an x of any kind. So it's the constant. There's no variable involved in it. I'm going to fill into my discriminant and set it equal to 0 because I'm finding equal roots. B is 2k plus 1 all squared minus 4 by A is k minus 2 by C, which is k, and that's equal to 0. Squaring this out, you can use Pascal's triangle or square the first, square the last. So square the first, double the product, square the last, minus 4k by this. So I'm going to do both multiplications at the same time. Minus 4 by k, minus 4k squared. Minus 4 by k by minus 2 plus 8k. Again, you can do that in more steps if you found that difficult. Well, this was nice. 4k squared take 4k squared is 0. And then I have 4 plus 8, 12k plus 1 equal to 0. 12k is equal to minus 1, which means k is equal to minus 1/12. Okay, so find the value, and we just check the question again, because the question will always indicate to you whether you needed to find one or more values, and it said find the value. So we're feeling pretty happy that those k squareds cancelled and we only got one answer. Now, I also asked you to do questions 11 and 12. I know 13 is in the screenshot, but again, that involves some algebra that we haven't done yet. If anybody wants to go ahead and try it, you're certainly welcome to. And if you want me to take a look at your solution, I'll be happy to do that as well. So we're looking at question 11. Show that the equation m plus 3x squared plus 6 minus 2mx plus m minus 1 equal to 0 has equal roots when m is equal to 3/2. What do they want us to do? They want us to sub in m equals 3/2 and show that the discriminant is equal to 0. So they're not asking us to find the values of m. There will be more than one value of m. There will be 2 values for m if we did this. But it's actually easier than that. So let's write down our values for A, B, and C. So A is m plus 3, but we know that m is 3/2. So that is 3/2 plus 3. Why not get our calculator to help us? So 3/2, or 1.5, plus 3 is equal to 9/2. Now, I'm normally a fan of leaving these things as fractions, but because this is such a simple fraction, a simple decimal, 4.5, I'm actually going to change it to 4.5. So A is 4.5. It'll be easier to write it down when I'm subbing it in. B is 6 minus 2m, and then I'm filling in 3/2. So that's going to give me 3. The 2's cancel. 6 minus 3 is 3, but you can use your calculator as well. we'll just go on to C. So C then is m minus 1, which is 3 over 2 minus 1, and that is 0.5. So those are my three values for A, B, and C. Let's sub them into my discriminant. B squared minus 4AC is equal to 3 squared minus 4 by 4.5 by 0.5. And if we type that into our calculator, should get 0. You don't have to show your steps working it out or anything like that. So we have 3 squared, 9, minus 4 by 4.5 multiplied by 0.5. That's what we're typing into the calculator. Sorry, the light kind of reflects off this. And we get 0. So that's equal to 0. So therefore, equal roots. Don't even have to write full sentences in maths. That's all we have to write down. Okay, so if you got a bit confused about what that question was asking, hopefully it's clear now, and let me know if you still have any questions about it. Let's look at question 12. The equation ax squared plus bx plus 1 equal to 0 has equal roots. And they want us to express a in terms of b. It has equal roots. So as soon as you see equal roots, that means b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0. A, b, c. So that means that b squared minus 4 by a by 1 is equal to 0. So b squared minus 4a is equal to 0. That's the fact that we have from the equal roots. And they asked us to express a in terms of b. So they want us to write a equals something, 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 manipulating the formula. So we'll have minus 4a is equal to minus b squared. We'll change our signs. A is equal to b squared over 4. And it says, hence write down the root of the equation, and there must only be one because the discriminant is 0. So that means when I fill into my full minus b formula, x equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, we know straight away that this is gone because it's equal to 0. And I also have a value for a that I can use instead. So there's going to be some fraction work going on here. So x is going to be minus b divided by 2 times b squared over 4. Okay, so that's minus b divided by 2 into 4 goes twice, divided by b squared over 2. And of course we know that that means minus b multiplied by 2 over b squared. So that's minus 2b over b squared, which is minus 2 over b. You wouldn't have to show every step there, but that's the answer. So x, the root of the equation in terms of b, is minus 2 over b. The equal root that we're talking about. Okay, so that was everything in the homework. Quite a bit of work there. I hope you understood it. Just let me know if you have any questions. Okay, thank you very much.